welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing an ice cream cone granny square that is going to be the very beginning of a bake shop blanket series that we're going to be doing over the course of the next couple of months. So this is the first of many different parts. So there's going to be lots of different kind of coinciding sweets that go along with the ice cream cone square, all part of a kind of granny square motif that will all end up being a big, beautiful bake shop blanket. So you have a couple of options. You can mix up these different granny squares that we'll be doing, or you can do a whole ice cream blanket and kind of mix up the colors and, you know, change colors of yarn and make different flavors of ice cream and all kinds of different things like that. So you have a lot of different options, but this granny square alone is really cute and pretty easy. So being pregnant with my first baby, I've been craving a lot of sweets, particularly ice cream. So I wanted to create something for the baby's room and just kind of for me to remember this time and this process. And that's kind of how I came up with doing some kind of sweet ice cream blanket. But I'm not a big fan of the way that applique motifs look on just a big single crochet blanket. I really like the granny square style, and I've done that in the past. I've made a lot of different granny square kind of blankets and little things that are just very traditional. And after you do that for a while, it's still beautiful and it's a great technique, but I wanted to kind of mix it up and make it a little different. So incorporating kind of something new and different with something very traditional is very much my style, because I like to mix new and old. So taking something that was something I've done for a long time and then adding something new to it that really says something about, you know, my life right now that I can look back on and kind of look at these different pieces of it and also share with my baby when he's here is really something that I'm really excited about. So that's kind of what this project is for and how it came about. We're going to be doing it in 3 parts. So you'll do the cone first and then the ice cream part, and we'll sew those together, and then we'll do a granny square around the back. So it's a pretty quick, easy project, and it's a lot of fun and comes out really cute. Okay guys, so getting started, you're going to start with a chain of 9, which I already have here, and then you're going to half double crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then go ahead and half double crochet in each stitch across. So we're just doing regular half double crochets all the way down the chain, so you should wind up with 8 half double crochets in this row, and then chain 1, and we're going to turn, and then we're going to do a half double crochet decrease. So that's yarn over, pull up a loop, and then stop and yarn over in the next stitch and pull up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And then we're going to do regular half double crochets until we get to the last 2 stitches. So 4 regular half double crochets, and then we see those last 2 stitches in our row, and we're going to do another half double crochet decrease. And then we're going to chain 1, so we can see that it's getting a little shorter there. And then we're going to turn our work, and then we're just going to half double crochet all the way across here. So you should have 6 half double crochets in this row, row 3, and then chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do a half double crochet decrease, and then 2 half double crochets, regular ones, and then another decrease in the last 2 stitches. So you should have 4 stitches total, a decrease on each end and 2 regular half double crochets in the middle. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn and do regular half double crochets all the way across. So 4 half double crochets in this row, and we can see it taking shape a little. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to start with a decrease. And you'll notice that now we only have 2 stitches left, so we're going to decrease again with absolutely no regular half double crochets in the middle. So just 2 half double crochet decreases back to back. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do 2 regular half double crochets for this row. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we only have 2 stitches in this row, so we're just going to do 1 half double crochet decrease to bring those 2 stitches together to the point of our ice cream cone. A little tight stitch there, having some trouble getting in and out of it, but there is our last decrease, so it forms that point of the cone, and we're just going to snip our yarn and go ahead and finish off. So just pulling that tail through and making a knot. So now we can set that aside, and we're going to start working on the ice cream itself. Now that's our cone finished and done. So now we're going to start with whatever color you'd like for your ice cream. I used a baby pink to kind of be strawberry, so I'm starting with a magic ring here. And we're going to chain up 2, and you're going to make 8 double crochets inside the ring. So make sure to hold that tail out of the way and do 8 double crochets here. If you need any help with how to do a magic ring, or any help with any of these stitches, I have individual tutorial videos for each different kind of stitch under my beginner crochet series playlist. So make sure to check that out if you're confused at any point. So go ahead and tighten that magic circle up, and we're going to slip stitch in the chain space from that chain 2 just to kind of close it off. And then we're going to chain up 2. So now in round 2, we're going to do 2 double crochets in each of the next 5 stitches. So that's 10 double crochets total. So you see me doing 2 in the same stitch, and then you move on to the next stitch and do 2 in that one, and so on and so forth for 5 stitches. So you should have 10 double crochets, and what we're really doing is making like a semicircle here to be the top arch of the ice cream. So we can see it taking shape a little. It should look like a semicircle, and you're not going to join anything. You're just going to chain 2 as long as your hook will stay in your yarn. Chain 2, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch back around the other way. So you want to chain 2 and then turn and work back around those double crochets you just made, and do 2 double crochets in each stitch coming back. So really it's forming kind of like a rainbow shape. You're going one way and then turning around and coming back the other way on top of itself without working all the way around that magic circle. So you should wind up with about 20 double crochets here because you had 10 stitches and you're doing 2 double crochets in each one. And then you're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets in that last chain space. So here you can see me finishing that up. And now we're going to start working on a scalloped kind of edging. So you want to look at the flat part of your semicircle right here, and we're going to work across that flat part. So you're going to chain 4, and then you're going to single crochet in the next stitch, kind of coming across that bottom piece. And then you're going to skip a stitch and do 5 double crochets all in the same space in the next stitch. So after you do your chain 4, single crochet in the next stitch, skip 1, and then 5 double crochets all in the same spot. So that creates our first kind of scallop shape. And once you do your first 5 double crochets, you're going to skip a stitch and single crochet in the next one to kind of anchor that scallop down. So here I am single crocheting. And then we're going to do 5 more double crochets again. So after you've single crocheted that first scallop down, you're going to skip a stitch and do 5 double crochets in the next, single crochet. So now we have 2 scallops. We're going to do a 3rd scallop. So skip a stitch and do 5 more double crochets. You should wind up with a scallop bump right in the center, right below where that magic circle started, and then 1 flanking each side. And then we're going to single crochet it down. We're back on the other edge now, and we're going to chain 4 and then single crochet in the very next stitch to anchor that down. And that is kind of it for the ice cream part of the ice cream cone. So just snip the tail and then finish off. And I wanted to save time on camera, but all I did was I took that long tail that you can kind of see there from the magic ring, and I just threaded it through a tapestry needle and sewed it onto the cone, and then weaved in all my ends. So just to save time, I didn't want to spend 10 minutes just showing you sewing those together, but I just sewed them right along the edges together. So looking at the top of that ice cream, we're going to start our granny square pattern, and you want to go out to the corner of the top. So you can see here, you want to do a cluster at the right corner. So you're going to slip stitch your new yarn that you want your granny square color to be in, and then you're going to chain up 2, and in the same space we're going to do 2 more double crochets. We're creating that first corner of the granny square, and then you're going to chain 3. After you've done those 2 double crochets, chain 3, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that same space still. So all of our stitches so far for our granny square beginning have been in the same stitch, and you can see that it kind of makes a little square corner there. If you can imagine in your mind the finished product, it's just the beginning of that. So then you're going to chain 1 after those 3 double crochets, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets in the center. So the top center stitch, you should skip about 3 stitches, but just so long as that center cluster of 3 double crochets is in the center, that's what we want. So even if you need to skip 1 more or 1 less just to get it to situate and lay right, that's totally okay. No one will ever know. So now we're going to chain 1 and go into the other corner, skipping 3 stitches in between, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets all in that same space. So the corner clusters are 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and 3 double crochets all in 1 stitch. And each of the 4 corners of our square, every time we go around, are going to be that exact same cluster. So 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and 3 double crochets. And then in between, as you can see I'm doing here on the sides, it's just 3 double crochets in the same stitch, and that's all there is to it, with a chain 1 on either end. So here, after I've done that top left corner of the entire square, I've chained 1, and now we're doing 3 double crochets in that side. So that is the side cluster of our square. Now we need to do the bottom left corner. So I'm going to go into the cone part for this. So you're not going all the way to the bottom of the cone, you're just going a little higher than halfway. So probably what is the, 3rd row or so of just that cone piece. You can kind of eyeball this. In the pattern I say that you skip 3 stitches, but depending on your tension and what kind of yarn you're using, it may be more or less than that, and that's totally fine. Whatever works for you that, helps it lay right is what you should be doing. So here we've done our corner, and we've chained 1, and then we're going to do our 3 double crochets in the back of our cone. So flip it over and look at that 3rd row from the bottom, so 3rd row from the tip of the cone, and you're just going to insert your hook in one of the back loops. So you don't want to go all the way through the front of the cone because you don't want these stitches to show from the front. You're just anchoring your stitches on the back. So just pull up one of those loops. You don't need to pull up an entire stitch and yank it out of the center of the cone. So you're doing your 3 double crochets in that stitch and then chain 1. And we're going to go back and do what is the bottom right corner. And we want to make it even on the same row as that other bottom corner. So we can see that row of stitches. And we're coming around on that exact same row on the other end to do our other corner. And our 3 double crochets, chain 3 and 3 double crochets in the same stitch. And then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do our other side. So our cluster of 3 double crochets right above our little scallopy edging on the ice cream. So after you've done that, you're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch into your beginning chain. So now we've finished the first row and we're going to slip stitch across to get into that top corner chain space. So we can see here that I've done the first 2 rows. So you're going to follow the same method and just go around again, doing those corner 3 double crochet, 3 chain, 3 double crochet. And I've gone around and added 2 more rows. You can do as many or as few rows as you want to get it to look how you want it to, but that's just how I prefer to do it. So I did 3 total granny square rows looping around. So you just do that corner cluster in each corner, and then the sides are going to be just the 3 double crochets. So moving on, we're just going to make a cherry, and this is super quick. You just start with a magic ring and then chain up 2. And then we're just going to do some half double crochets into the magic ring. So I just did 6. You can make the cherry as big or as little as you want to. What's going to control that is how many stitches you do in this magic ring. So I just did 6 because I want my cherry to be relatively small. Tighten it and then slip stitch it closed. So slip stitch into that chain space. So that's kind of the bulk of our cherry, and I'm just going to chain up 6, and that little chain will be the stem of the cherry. So there's our finished cherry, super quick and easy. And I just snipped the end of that yarn, leaving a tail long enough to weave in the ends and finish it off. And then I just use that long tail, thread a tapestry needle. I have a giant one here, and kind of hold it in place and just sew it on. You could also use hot glue if you didn't want to see these stitches from the back. But what I plan on doing with this Bake Shop blanket, when it's all said and done, is backing it with probably flannel or some kind of fabric like that, which we'll get to later on after we've learned all the different granny squares. So I'm not too worried about my sewn pieces showing on the back, but you can hot glue if you're really concerned about that. So here, that is our finished granny square. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the rest of the Bake Shop blanket.